Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Skylar Baker-Jordan and I am a freelance writer. My work has appeared all over, you can Google it. Today, though, I'm going to be reading from Why Pro-Life, Caring for the Unborn and Their Mothers by Randy Alcorn. Randy is obviously pro-life. I am not. I am pro-choice, and so we're going to have a dialogue. Me responding to the text, Randy through the text, and you all in the comments below. So be sure to leave a comment, leave a like, click that subscribe button, and let's get started. All right. What do the pictures tell us? This is chapter 6. We're on chapter 6 now. The biggest disadvantage to the preborn child has always been that there's no window to the womb. His fate is in the hands of those who cannot see him. But in recent years, this has radically changed. Keep in mind this book is old. It's about 18 years old. I think it came out in 2004. So it's talking recent years, late 90s, early 2000s. Time in 2002 and Newsweek in 2003 devoted cover stories to the breathtaking ultrasound images of preborn children. Newsweek asked on its cover, should a fetus have rights? How is science changing the debate? All arguments vaporize in the face of the unborn child. I disagree with that, and we've covered that in previous videos. Even if you accept that the child, that the fetus, that whatever is gestating in the woman, whether it be the embryo, the fetus, or in your view, Randy, a baby, pregnancy can still kill a woman. And so she has to have the final say in what happens to her body. That's my view. The power of ultrasound. Rebecca Nancaro received an $80 ultrasound at Planned Parenthood, but wasn't allowed to see the results because that will only make it harder on you, they said. Unsettled, she went to a pregnancy resource center where she was given a free ultrasound and allowed to view it. She said, had I not had the sonogram, I would have had the abortion. But the sonogram just confirmed 100% to me that this was life within me, not a tissue or a glob. I mean, I'm glad that this woman is really happy with the choice she made. I find it very difficult to believe that Planned Parenthood would not let her see the sonogram. It is probably more that they maybe cautioned against it, and she took that as forbidden. I don't know. I guess we should take what she says in good faith if we're gonna have a respectful dialogue. But I find that very, very difficult to believe. I don't know. If you work for Planned Parenthood, let me know in the comments below. You know, do you refuse to let women see sonograms, or did you in the past? Keep in mind this book is really old, so I don't know. According to Thomas Glessner, prior to ultrasound technology, pregnancy centers reported that of the abortion-minded women who came in for testing and advice, so those intent on having an abortion, about 20% to 30% decided to remain pregnant. With pregnancy centers using ultrasound machines, that proportion has jumped to 80% or 90%. Okay. I mean, I think forcing a woman to have an ultrasound, or I don't know, I could see how it can make things harder for her. There seems to be some emotional manipulation probably going along with these. I can't imagine it's just, here's an ultrasound. So, I don't know that, but I'm assuming. Audrey Stout, a nurse, told me of an ultrasound she performed. This particular time, the baby opened and closed her mouth, had the hiccups, laid back as if in a beach chair, stretching her little legs. She even held up hands so Mom could count her fingers. The mother was visibly touched. That's sweet. When Aubrey finished the scan, she asked the woman whether her plans were. She replied, I am going to have my baby. I asked if the scan had made a difference. She said, big time. I just came in here to get a pregnancy verification so I could have an abortion. Thousands of stories like this have emerged from pregnancy centers that now use ultrasounds. Internet sites display astounding ultrasound images, some clearly showing the unborn smiling, yawning, stretching, and sleeping. Don't trust everything you find on the internet. Those may be true images. I don't know, but we know now how much of the internet is bollocks, and so don't trust just anything. You know, make sure you're finding it on a verified source. Still, denial remains unsurprisingly strong. When I showed an intrauterine photograph of an 8-week unborn child to a pro-choice advocate and intelligent college graduate, she asked me, do you really think you're going to fool anyone with this trick photography? Well, I don't know. I told her she could go to Harvard University Medical School textbooks, Life magazine, or Nielsen's A Child is Born and find exactly the same pictures. She didn't want to hear it. Why? Because she was really saying that's obviously a child in this photograph. And because I don't want to believe abortion kills a child, I refuse to believe that's a real photograph. I don't know if that's really what she was saying or if she was just saying that you anti-choice people tend to use manipulative tactics and, emotional blackmail and really nasty things, and tools and tactics to try and convince people to your side. I don't know if that's, I don't know. And I'm not saying Randy here is trying to do that necessarily, but when you're picketing abortion clinics the way that you people do, it's hard to think that you really care about women. It just is. And it's hard to take anything you say in good faith. The way you've acted over the last 50 years, the way that you have hijacked the judiciary and rigged our political system so that you could get this, outcome. It's hard to trust you. It's hard to trust and take in good faith the anti-choicers. We're trying, for the sake of this video, we're trying, but it is very, very difficult. We've all been there. We all know what you all are like. To be fair, though, they probably think the same thing about us. As pro-choicers, they probably think exactly the same thing, and that's part of why we're doing this, is we're trying to better understand the other side. So, anyway. What the remains indicate. A film called The Gift of Choice claims that an unborn is a probability of a future person. But what's left after an abortion are small but perfectly formed body parts, arms and legs, hands and feet, torso and head. The physical remains indicate the end not of a potential life, but of an actual life. If you don't believe this, examine the remains of an abortion. I'm not going to do that. If this were only tissue rather than a dismembered child, it wouldn't be hard to look at, would it? No, it still would. I mean, a tumor is technically just tissue, but I don't want to look at it. Ew. In his how-to manual, Abortion Practice, Dr. Warren Hearn states, quote, "A long curved Mayo scissors may be necessary to decapitate or dismember the fetus." That's the end of the quote. No, it's not. I'm sorry. Is it? No. Their punctuation's off. One must have a head in order to be decapitated. One must have a head in order to be decapitated, and body parts in order to be dismembered. Lumps of flesh and blobs of tissue aren't decapitated or dismembered. Why are the same people who watch bloody killings and gruesome autopsies in primetime dramas disturbed by abortion photographs? Pro-choice feminist Naomi Wolf, speaking of pictures of aborted babies, acknowledges, quote, "To many choice advocates, the imagery is revolting propaganda. There is a sense among us, let us be frank, that the gruesomeness of the imagery belongs to the pro-lifers, that it represents the violence of imaginations that would, given half a chance, turn our world into a scary, repressive place." And in fact, they are doing that now. That's my adding in. Naomi didn't say that. People like us see such material as the pornography of the pro-life movement, but feminism at its best is based on what is simply true. While images of violent fetal death work magnificently for pro-lifers as political polemic, the pictures are not polemical in themselves. They are biological facts. We know this. Okay. It feels like Naomi Wolf is being taken out of context there. Naomi Wolf is someone I have my own differences with as far as feminism and politics go, but we'll just move on. I mean, you can look up that quote and find out. I mean, let's see, I'll tell you where they're quoting from because they have a footnote. This is chapter 6. That's from Our Bodies, Our Souls, which is a Naomi Wolf piece that ran in the New Republic. It looks like on October 16th, 1995. So, like I said, this book's really old. The next section is the right to remain ignorant. When a pro-life candidate ran television ads showing aborted babies, people were outraged. A CBS Evening News reporter declared that abortion debate had reached a new low in tastelessness. Strangely, there was no outrage that babies were being killed, because they're not babies, only that someone had the audacity to show that they were being killed. They're not. The question we should ask is not, why are pro-life people showing these pictures? No, that's exactly the question we should ask, is why are you showing these pictures? And you're doing it to emotionally manipulate and blackmail women. That's what you're doing. I don't know. I mean, I think some of them really do believe their own propaganda about it being a baby, and they probably really are thinking they're doing the best, but they're not. The question we should ask is not, why are pro-life people showing these pictures, but why would anyone defend what's shown in these pictures? The real concern about pictures of unborn babies isn't that they're gory, but that they prove the accuracy of the pro-life position. They don't. They are gory, but they don't prove the accuracy of your position. They just don't. I mean, a mannequin looks enough like a human. You could dismember a mannequin. That doesn't make it a human. Like, the logic doesn't flow, right? A dog, you could dismember a dog. It's not human. I guess a dog would be alive, though, so that would be closer to your point than a mannequin, which isn't alive. I'm not sitting here trying to say that abortion isn't a very difficult and serious topic. It is, I think, but that's because you're dealing with an unknowable philosophical question, which is, when does life begin? And as I've said before, everyone's going to have a different answer for that, and every faith is going to have a different answer for that. And your Christian worldview, Randy, is not the only worldview in the United States of America. And so, and that's really what this comes down to, is your worldview is not the only worldview. And the question you're trying to answer is unanswerable. Intrauterine photos and ultrasounds aren't hideous, but beautiful and fascinating. Yeah, they are. So, do pro-choice advocates welcome these pictures? No. Abortion rights organizations have referred to ultrasound images as a weapon in the hand of the pro-life movement. That's because you guys have weaponized them. Do you not see that? Do you not see that you have done that? Like, you have used these photos as a scare tactic to try and dissuade women from exercising their own bodily autonomy. I mean, you all have weaponized these images. That's very true. I mean, I remember I was in high school. I was 14 years old, a freshman, and I was pro-choice. Why was I pro-choice? Probably because my parents and my grandparents were. I hadn't really thought through the position at that point. All I knew was that I thought women should have a right to do with their bodies as they saw fit. By the way, that's still my position 22 years later. But when I was 14, I was naive and pro-choice. And my teacher and one of the seniors, I was a freshman, one of the seniors in our school play, were very upset with me. And so the teacher brought in images of aborted fetuses to show me. That's weaponizing it. When you are in a position of power, of authority over a 14-year-old boy, and you're bringing in these very visceral images to emotionally manipulate a political position, yeah, that's weaponizing those images. That's weaponizing those images. Sometimes clinics and businesses now offer real-time 3D, sometimes called 4D, ultrasound photographs of unborn children smiling, sneezing, and yawning. See the ultrasound image of an unborn child on the back of this book. I'll show you this image. I think I've showed you in a previous video. That's on the back of the book. Oh no, we've looked at that photo. This is the photo we're looking at now. In a PBS discussion, one panelist claimed that such pictures reflected, quote, an unhealthy preoccupation with the baby, unquote. Notice the terminology, the baby. Ultrasound technologies are dismantling the age-old pro-choice argument. It isn't a baby. People are saying, what are you talking about? Of course it's a baby. Just look. I mean, like I said, a baby doll looks like a baby. A mannequin looks like a baby. That doesn't mean it's a baby. And I just find that logic very, very flawed. I think you could come up with a better argument. And it still doesn't answer the bodily autonomy argument. It just doesn't. Sorry. Overcoming denial is the final section of this chapter. The Holocaust was so evil that words alone couldn't describe it. Descriptions of Nazi death camps had long been published in American newspapers, but when these papers started printing the pictures of slaughtered people, the American people finally woke up. If not for the pictures, even today, most of us wouldn't understand or believe the Holocaust. Maybe that might be true. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other historical, instances where we understand something terrible happened, but we don't have the photographic images. I don't think that there's an argument against this, though. Not pro-life, but like what he's saying about the Holocaust. I think the images were incredibly important. Same with like the Vietnam War. I think Randy's right there. You can't dismiss the power of imagery over text, and you can't dismiss the power, the transformative nature that photography and later cinematography and videography and moving images have had on our society, for the everyday person to really understand maybe what they couldn't have understood before, or to understand it on a deeper and more profound level. So, I agree with Randy there. I visited a college campus where a pro-life group had set up displays of aborted babies alongside the victims of the Nazi death camps, the killing fields, American slavery, and other historical atrocities. That's just gross. And I guess that's where I disagree with Randy, is like I won't disagree with him that photographs and images have the ability to really startle people and to grab their attention in a way that just describing something can't. But I think it's really, really gross to compare women exercising their bodily autonomy to gas Jews in Nazi death camps, or chattel slavery in the United States. I think that's really offensive. It's very offensive. And if I was Jewish or black but I'm offended anyway. But I would be outraged at that comparison, I think. Signs with warnings about the graphic photographs were posted clearly, so all those who looked did so by choice. That's not true. That's not true. And I'll tell you why. Because those signs can be missed. Okay? I appreciate you doing your due diligence, and you have every right to sort of exercise your First Amendment right like this. I might not like what you're doing or agree with it, but you are within your rights. I will grant you that. But I spare me the sanctimony, and spare me the we did everything right. No, I mean, you know what you're doing. I witnessed the profound effects on students and faculty, including those who didn't want to believe what they were seeing. Animal rights advocates argue that in order to make their case, they must show terrible photographs such as baby seals being clubbed to death. That's true. And I think the animal rights activists have had a lot of success with, well, maybe not a lot of success. PETA shows factory farming images all the time, and people just kind of shrug, and we still go on and we eat our sausage. So I don't know. Maybe it hasn't worked. If there's a place to look at such pictures, isn't there a place to look at pictures of abortions? And if abortion isn't killing babies, then why are these pictures so disturbing? I mean, we just covered that, though. I don't want to look at a picture of a tumor. Like, I think it's because there's this visceral connection to the body, and we immediately start to put ourselves in the place of whoever has had something removed from their bodies, that makes us sort of squirm. Like, I think any sort of image like that makes us squirm, and so makes a lot of people, not everyone. Some people really love gory images. Some people love Halloween. I'm not one of them. I like Christmas. So that's why I don't like looking at those images, I guess. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's a baby. It has everything to do with the fact that it's it's a reminder of the pain and the trauma of a body. But is that body the aborted fetuses? In my mind, I'm thinking about the woman. Was the solution to the Holocaust to ban the disgusting pictures, or was the solution to end the killing? I find it really gross that you're comparing this to the Holocaust, Randy. It's really upsetting, and it cheapens your argument. I think you could find another way of making this argument without comparing women's bodily autonomy to the systemic execution of 6 million European Jews. Is the solution to abortion getting rid of pictures of dead babies, or is it getting rid of what's making the babies dead? I mean, again, I don't agree that they're babies. Randy does. I don't know. I think that's just really, I mean, I don't have anything else to say to that. That's the end of that chapter. They're not babies. That's my opinion. Randy thinks they are. But at the end of the day, I have said this before, and I will say that again. I think that's a distraction from the bodily autonomy argument, which is really the argument that matters more to me than the unanswerable question of when life begins. We'll leave that for the philosophers. All right. On that note, that's it for this chapter. Join us again next time. Us, I don't know who us is. Join me again next time. And I will be reading more from Randy's book here. This is Why Pro-Life? Caring for the Unborn and Their Mothers by Randy Alcorn. And I have been Skylar Baker-Jordan. And until next time, bye.